I just started working with a financial company and I'm excited, but I need help with some training. I just got to witness 10 training appointments to get my state license. No costs or obligations. It'll take, 30 to 45 minutes. Would you and such be willing to help me out? I mean, if the person's credible, and Jen's going to talk about how important credibility is and the results of dealing with a credible recruit, if the person's credible and says, can you help me out? I just got started in a very prestigious industry like financial services. They're going to say yes. And that's not hard. It's not hard for somebody to ask for help for somebody that they know. So that's one way. And then the way that we like to do it as trainers in the first week or two, we want to control the point of contact. Control the point of contact so the new recruit doesn't go and make too much of a mess and completely ruin their chances in their warm market. And the script we like to use for that is the character reference script, where the new recruit sends out a 3-way text message to take a phone call from you, the trainer. You, the trainer, then call that person and say, hello, is such and such there? Hi, my name is Josh Perez. I was actually calling in regards to the new recruit. Do you know the new recruit? Yeah, that's my nephew. Absolutely. Okay, great. So listen, he's in a new application process with our company and has listed you as a character reference. Do you have a couple minutes to talk? Yes. Okay, great. So how long have you known such and such? I mean, if that's obviously you wouldn't ask that if that's the person's uncle or aunt all their lives. How do you know each other? Okay, no need to ask that either. So listen, we're in the financial services industry and such, or the new recruit may be handling large sums of money. Do you feel that he or she has a high degree of integrity? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, great. So he's getting licensed through the state of Virginia or whatever state you're in and has to go through some training before he can get certified. And there's 3 types of training that he will undergo. The first is licensing through the state of Virginia. The second is some classroom training, which we'll provide virtually. And the third is field training. This last method is the most important because we need all of our new associates to see real life situations. And we like to say that 20 hours in the classroom is like 1 hour in the field. Does this new recruit have enough credibility with you and your spouse that you'd be willing to help him out with their first training appointment? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. So, what that entails is we'll be setting up a Zoom appointment for about 30 to 45 minutes to share some information and concepts. All we ask is, for the new recruits, best training is that you and your spouse are both there and ask a lot of questions. Is that fair enough? Perfect. Awesome. So they're scheduled, and you got to know the new recruit's schedule. They're scheduled to work on Tuesday and Thursday of this week. What day is better? Thursday. Okay, awesome. So we always meet after 5 p.m. with training appointments. So would 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. be better for you? 6 p.m. Awesome. So Thursday at 6 p.m., what I'll do is I'll set up a 3-way text message between you, the new recruit, and me with the Zoom information, and I truly appreciate it. Boom. That's one appointment set. And you want to aim to have your appointment set up. You want to aim to have your appointment, all of your appointments set up for on Sunday. Or better yet, the day of training, worst case scenario on Sunday. That's the goal. Your aim is to have your week set up the day of training, like today, or worst case scenario Sunday. Now, for all of you guys that don't have a list of referrals like Jen and I do, right? To just call on, like a big book of clients that you can go back and get emergency contact referrals from. What you got to do is you got to go out and drum up some activity. I mean, do a heck of a lot of prospecting over the next 48 hours. Get them on the webinar, recruit some people, and that solves your appointment lacking issue. But guys, I hope that was helpful. Get on 5 appointments minimum this week, and you'll be in the contender for Top Gun this upcoming week. Thanks so much.
Amazing job, Josh. You guys, I hope you guys paid attention to everything he said, because especially that second slide, I took a lot of notes on, even though I've been here for however long. Josh, if I can ask you to stop screen sharing.
I did, actually. Oh,
No.
okay.
It's okay. Don't worry. But
Is
yeah,
it-
if you guys were taking notes on everything Josh said, a lot of people, they say, oh, I've heard this before. They say, you don't say it out loud, but you say it to yourself. Oh, I heard this before. Oh, I already wrote this down. I don't need to write this down again. No, you do. Because if you didn't, then you would already been doing it. You have to write it down as much as possible. And to this day, I still write down the same notes I wrote down the day one when I started the business years ago. So I'm going to hone in on where these results can come from. Josh talked about the beginning and how to set it up. Now we're going to look at the other side of the mountain, the other side of the spectrum. From point A to point B, what does point B look like? So first and foremost, he talked about activity, right? You got to drum up activity. You got to set things up. It's QA set, then QA is done. Write this down. You don't close appointments you're not on. You never close appointments you're not on. Okay? You never close appointments you're not on. So in order to close appointments, you have to be on those appointments. So Josh talked about being on minimum 5 QAs a week. So last 7 days, the personal QAs that I had set for me to go on, okay, not the team, but for me to go on, whether it was a training appointment or personal appointment, it was 14 personal QAs set, okay? 8 actually happened. And out of those 8, if you work with me, especially directly, I'll pick on Cheryl really quick. Cheryl, how many appointments that you set will actually happen on average?
50%.
Right. And out of those that actually happen, how many will actually close? You can unmute yourself.
Maybe half of that.
It's not maybe, it's always 50%.
Okay.
If you're bad, it's 50%. Okay. And these are the appointments that close with money with the application. Okay. If you're a trainer or upcoming trainer, you know what I mean by that. So out of it was 5,100 of premium that got collected throughout the team outside of Shug that I was personally responsible for, but after splits, 3,900, I'm sorry, was personal. And I put that wrong. But 3,900 was personal. That's literally 4,000. That's 50% right there, guys. Right? That means what? I'm on QAs. That means what? Qualified appointments. They're not unqualified, right? So if you're on qualified appointments, your numbers will come out to 50%. Even if you're not that good, you're still going to close something out of 14 QA set, because the products and services sell themselves. You just have to read the slide really and have a competent trainer with you to kind of help you just clean up some little trinkets here and there. So where did these apps come from? We know how many appointments happen. So Saturday, these 2 apps that I got last Saturday were my client's grown children. So this client, she has been waiting for her job to come back. So it's been a couple months now. And that was more of a money call. She called me out of the blue, and it had been 2 weeks since we had been following up, and called her up and said, hey, listen, every time we set up a time to talk to both your children, they're not available. So let's just call them right now. Why? Because I wanted to close something right then and there. You got to be making money every day, if not every week. Sunday morning, another client's grown child, I had spoke to her because her birthday had just passed. And I called her and I said, hey, by the way, does your son have any coverage on him? Because last time I checked, I don't think we got him covered, right? And I know he helps you with the bills. If something happened to you, would you be able to survive without the couple hundred that he gives you? She's like, no. And I was like, and you don't have 25,000, we know, to cover a funeral. So let's just get him covered and get some protection, like Tia always says. Joey, superstar from Michigan, I was training. We collected a $76 MRN that was from a single parent. And I'll get to Joey in a second. We also collected a max case the same day. Okay, now let me come back to what Josh said. If Josh just said, set your appointment, make sure your week is set up since when? Since today, after training. So immediately right after training, if you set up your week, especially your weekend, look at these apps. They're the ones that came in with money. They basically came from the weekend, guys, right? The beginning of the week. But if you wait until the middle of the week to, scramble for things, your results are not most likely not going to look like that. You might get lucky, right? But luck is not duplicatable, it's not systematic. So Joey's two apps that we got split, those were appointments she set herself. So remember the script, you guys, that Josh showed you, the one that the recruit can use on their own to talk to their market? I do recommend that if you're training somebody, sit down with them while they're doing it first. Don't let your new person go on their own too soon, because there's still going to be mistakes they're going to make. There's still certain words and tonality you can kind of, fix a little bit here or there, little trinkets here and there. So I sat with Joey every single time. But in the last 3 weeks, guys, even though Joey has been on way more than 10 appointments, I think now like 17 appointments, more or less, that Joey's been on with me. She sets all her appointments by herself since the last 3 weeks. I have not picked up the phone and set any of those appointments for her in the last 3 weeks. Think about it. But I've sat with her while she said it, just to make sure that she knew how to overcome whatever objections, since we're going out of her hot market into just warm market. Now, Tuesday was a personal referral I got. That was a single parent. And that came from a referral. That was a cousin of a referral. That referral behind this $67 app was the girlfriend of my personal client. Okay, so that client came from a training appointment 3 years ago. That client I followed up with on his birthday, and 3 of his kids' birthday just passed the last 90 days. I've texted happy birthday for all of his kids on the day, and him happy birthday. And every time he needs to switch a bank account or whatnot, I'm always there. When clients call, it's 911. If you return the call back to your client, they appreciate so much more, because customer service is so far and few between these days. So if you have excellent customer service, they look at you like the king of, business. And that $85 app that came with Emmanuel split with Cheryl. Cheryl had Steam called Emmanuel. That was a Steam call. And Emmanuel came in, Cheryl did the follow-up, and I did the fast start meeting after he sat through orientation with Samir. I did all the work sessions while Cheryl watched, and I set all the appointments with him. Emmanuel was so excited. He had so much initiative that he tried to set all these appointments on his own. But what did Josh say? Control the point of contact, right? So before I agreed to do any of these appointments, I said, Emmanuel, I have to talk to these people first to make sure they understand the expectations, so that I know what they're expecting out of this appointment. So just let me talk to them. We can do the appointment, but just let me talk to them first. So I called them, introduced myself, and just made sure they knew what was happening. Now, this is crazy, and this is good for you guys to learn. Emmanuel set one of these appointments, or supposedly he set, right? And we were supposed to do a work session at 5 p.m. in the evening sometime last week, or a week and a half ago. And because we were already going to meet, I already figured this appointment probably wasn't going to happen, because Emmanuel said it. But he was so sure that it was going to happen because it was his brother. Hot market. Now, how many of you would believe a new recruit when they go, my brother wants insurance, he's meeting us at 5 the same time we're meeting, I'm going to have him on, okay? Some of you guys would get so excited, but it's not the apps that you have, it's the apps you think you have, but you don't, that really kill you, right? I didn't get that excited. I said, okay, great, just have him on, right? I didn't think the guy was gonna get on. Guess what? The guy doesn't get on. Emmanuel calls him. He's like, hey, bro, I I got caught up, at work, blah blah blah. Sorry, 15 minutes into we were supposed to meet. I said, of course. Listen, that's why I have to talk to them, Emmanuel. He goes, okay, okay, right? So the next morning, we booked the appointment because I talked to the person, because I set the tone. It's a higher authority close, and we closed it up. Single father, protected him, and then Emmanuel was so excited he wanted to introduce us to his um, child's mother, and we got an $85 app from that. Okay, so that was all the apps that came in with money. You see, if you see this, guys, this is only 3 days, not even 7 days. It's 3 days of work. And if you look, it's $20 app. That wasn't even an appointment for real. That was just a follow-up call, and got on Zoom, did the appointments. That was probably like 20 minutes worth, right? Just kind of some rapport building again. Sunday, that was 5 minutes of an application, 5 minutes of talking. $76 MRN. That was just following up, telling the client that they got approved, right? That was a big deal. $140 app. That was 2 hours of work or less. $67 app, an hour and a half. $85 app, 2 hours or less of work, since you were working on recruiting the client, right? But that's only like 6 hours, guys. That's 6 hours. Right? If you really put in the work, 30 minutes to blitz throughout the week, 6 hours of work, I mean, that's 3,900 right there. All right. On an 80% contract, that's close to $3,000 for the week. Compensated for 6 hours, right? But if it's to be, it's up to me, right? Tell yourself it's to be. If it's to be, it's up to me. So I got some questions, and we're gonna open it up for questions because we wanted to keep it short. But I got some questions from some of our teammates, and some of this you guys have already gotten answered because Josh had started training off. So somebody asked me, how do you overcome? We want to wait until the recruit gets licensed to see how serious they are, or so they can get credit. Josh, you want to answer that? You want me to answer that?
How do you we want to wait? Can you read that one more time?
How do you overcome? We want to wait. Okay, the client says, how do you overcome? We want to wait until the recruit gets licensed to see how serious they are, or so they can get credit.
You got that.
Okay, so listen, guys, this is not times when Shaq and Samir and all the other RVPs got started in the business where they didn't have a bonus, okay? So the easiest way to say, no, they get credit for this, because we have a promotion program where if they do acquire business during the training, then they get credit, not just compensation, but also towards their promotion. Right? That's all I say. I don't entertain that too much, because the client doesn't know the program. And if you say that, the recruit's even more like, oh my God, I want to get promoted. So that's not that big of a objection, guys. What do you say to QA referrals who came from old recruits to set a QA with them? Can we ask them, has anyone done financial work for them? Okay, so what this means is, okay, so maybe a recruit got 30 referrals, it's laying around, you haven't gotten to calling all the referrals, and they quit. The recruit quit, but you have all these referrals left over. Can we ask if has anyone done financial work for them? What's the challenge with that? Do you have credibility with these referrals? I hope you do. I hope you personally do, because if they're a client of yours and the recruit, regardless of the recruit quit, the client still trusted you to take care of their family long term, right? So you should have credibility to call those referrals. But let's say you feel like you don't. I would just steam call them, honestly, because if you shoot for the client, yeah, you could get the client, but if you shoot for the recruit, you'll still get the client plus a lot more. So it's way non-threatening if you just call them for a steam call. I don't think there's no right or wrong way to do it, but I wouldn't just call and say, hey, has anyone done financial work for you before? And they don't know who you are. They should know who you are if you know the client and the client talked about you, not just the recruit. So it depends on how you set it up, guys. What's the most important skill to develop before, during, after a QA? Josh, you want to take a stab at this?
What's the most important skill to develop before, during, and after a QA? I would personally say overcoming objections. because, before a Q&A,